Lala Kent shared an update on her treatment for a precancerous eye abnormality. Earlier this year, she received this unexpected diagnosis, but the Vanderpump Rules personality is optimistic as she progresses through her topical treatment. On her Give Them Lala podcast on July 14, Lala discussed her recent doctor's visit, stating, "There were almost no signs of precancerous cells anymore." She explained that an optometrist initially diagnosed the condition as an inflamed pingula, a callus attributed to sun exposure, dust, wind, and general elements from being outside. However, a subsequent visit to an ophthalmologist led to the precancer diagnosis and the start of topical drops. Regarding the treatment, Lala specified, "It's a topical treatment. It's called 5-FU, and they paired it with Lotmax, which is a steroid. I had to do or have to do those. I'm not done yet. 3 rounds. A week on, 3 weeks off, and in that time, I see my ophthalmologist twice." The mother of 2 explained her privacy about her health journey. She stated that she was initially blindsided by the shift from a cosmetic concern to a discussion about her vision, and she didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want to jeopardize anything. Lala had previously posted photos of the abnormality on her Instagram story in May, before a biopsy confirmed it was precancerous. The Valley friend is still undergoing treatment. The first 2 rounds of the topical drops, thankfully, have gone splendidly well, she noted, adding that the doctor is thrilled about the progress that we're making. She is now starting round 3 of the drops, her last round. She mentioned, "So I haven't kept anyone updated because I don't want to come out, and here I am talking about this, but so many people have asked. If you have something on your eye, you guys, I highly recommend going to an ophthalmologist, not an optometrist. I was misdiagnosed." The future after her treatment holds some unknowns. Lala stated, "I'm praying to God that after round 3 is done and I go in, they still say, 'We're all good here.' I did ask, 'What do we do after? God willing, all is good.' She said, 'I'm going to see you at 6 months on the dot for the rest of your life. That is what you have to do." In a May Instagram story video, Lala admitted that maintaining a positive outlook during her health scare had been challenging. "It's wild. I'll have friends who come to me when they're going through a health situation, and I'm like, 'It's going to be fine. You'll be good. We're gonna figure it out. We'll cross bridges when we get to them,'" she confessed. Then, you're placed in this situation. All you can do is just sit here and stress and think about every possible challenging situation, and all of the advice that you give to people completely goes out the window, she added. "So I'm trying to stay positive." The sterile scent of the ophthalmologist's office was a familiar comfort now, a strange counterpoint to the vibrant chaos of Lala's life. The hushed whispers of the waiting room, the rhythmic blink of the slit lamp, it all felt like a second home, a place she never imagined she'd inhabit so frequently. Just a few months ago, her biggest concern had been a perfectly symmetrical cat eye or the latest drama unfolding on Vanderpump Rules. Now it was 5-FU, Lotmax, and the delicate dance of cellular regeneration. It had started subtly, a persistent irritation in her left eye, a nagging feeling like a grain of sand. Her initial thought, like anyone living in the sun-drenched, dust-kissed landscape of Southern California, was a simple case of dry eye or maybe a rogue eyelash. An optometrist, her usual go-to for quick checks and new contact lens prescriptions, had echoed her assumption. "Inflamed pingula," he declared with a dismissive wave, "a common callus from sun exposure, dust, wind, just the elements from being outside." He'd prescribed some lubricating drops, and Lala, ever the pragmatist, had accepted the diagnosis and carried on. But the irritation didn't subside. If anything, it seemed to intensify, a tiny, unwelcome pebble beneath her eyelid, growing more abrasive with each blink. Her gut, a reliable compass in the often turbulent waters of reality television, started to whisper a different story. It was the kind of nagging whisper that wouldn't be silenced, the kind that forced her to book another appointment, this time with an ophthalmologist, a specialist who delved deeper than basic vision checks. The shift in atmosphere in the ophthalmologist's office was immediate. The exam was more thorough, the questions more probing. There was a quiet intensity in the doctor's gaze as she examined Lala's eye, a furrow in her brow that spoke volumes before any words were uttered. Then came the bombshell. It's not just a pinguicula, Miss Kent. We need to do a biopsy. There's a strong possibility this is precancerous. Lala remembered the way the words had hit her, a physical blow. Blindsided was an understatement. One moment, she was discussing a minor cosmetic annoyance. The next, her vision, her health, her very future felt suddenly, terrifyingly precarious. The world, which moments before had been a kaleidoscope of vibrant colors, seemed to drain to a muted gray. She'd always been the one to offer comfort, the pillar of strength for her friends when they faced health scares. It's going to be fine. You'll be good. We're gonna figure it out. We'll cross bridges when we get to them. The platitudes she'd so readily offered others now felt hollow, taunting her from the echo chambers of her own mind. All the advice she'd dispensed, all the comforting words, had flown right out the window. Now, she was the one staring into the abyss of uncertainty, and all she could do was stress. The biopsy confirmed the ophthalmologist's suspicion. Precancerous. The words hung heavy in the air, a constant companion, shadowing her every thought. She retreated, pulling a veil of privacy around her health journey. She didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to jinx anything, didn't want the harsh glare of public scrutiny to fall upon this vulnerable, terrifying part of her life. Yet, a part of her, the reality star ingrained in her being, knew she couldn't keep it entirely under wraps. A few discreet photos on her Instagram story, a subtle acknowledgement of the abnormality, before the biopsy confirmed the worst. It was a tiny crack in the carefully constructed facade of her public persona, a hint of the vulnerability lurking beneath. Then came the treatment protocol, 5-FU and Lotmax. A potent combination. 5-FU, a chemotherapy drug, applied topically, a silent warrior battling the rogue cells. Lotmax, a steroid, to calm the inflammation, to soothe the angry redness that sometimes flared. 3 rounds, a week on, 3 weeks off. In that time, 2 visits to the ophthalmologist, a meticulous charting of progress, a cautious optimism blooming with each positive report. The first 2 rounds had gone splendidly well, as the doctor put it. The precancerous cells, once a menacing shadow, were retreating. Almost gone, she'd heard the doctor say just days before her podcast, a wave of profound relief washing over her. The progress was thrilling, a testament to the power of modern medicine, and to her own unwavering commitment to healing. Now, she was on round 3, the final push. The end was in sight, but a nagging uncertainty lingered. What if? The question, unwelcome and persistent, would occasionally creep into her thoughts, a tiny serpent in the garden of her burgeoning hope. She was a mother of 2, a vibrant, ambitious woman with a life she loved, and the thought of a lifelong battle with a potentially recurring condition was a daunting prospect. On her Give Them Lala podcast, the microphone of familiar and comforting presence, she finally shared her story. The questions had been mounting, DMs filling with concerned messages from her followers who had seen her fleeting Instagram posts. She couldn't keep it private anymore. The urge to help others, to perhaps spare someone else the agony of a misdiagnosis, was stronger than her need for secrecy. There were almost no signs of precancerous cells anymore, she announced, her voice filled with a mixture of relief and cautious triumph. She recounted the journey, the initial misdiagnosis, the crucial pivot to the ophthalmologist, the rigorous treatment. It was a narrative of resilience, of listening to her intuition, of advocating for her own health. If you have something on your eye, you guys, she implored her listeners, her voice earnest. I highly recommend going to an ophthalmologist, not an optometrist. I was misdiagnosed. It was a plea, a warning, a desperate hope that her experience could serve as a beacon for others. The future, beyond this last round of drops, remained a canvas partially unpainted. I'm praying to God that after round 3 is done and I go in, they still say, "We're all good here," she confessed, her voice momentarily losing its usual confident edge. She had asked the doctor the crucial question, what comes next, assuming all goes well? The answer was a pragmatic reality, a lifelong commitment to vigilance. I'm going to see you at 6 months on the dot for the rest of your life. That is what you have to do. 6 months, for the rest of her life. It wasn't the clean, definitive break she might have hoped for, but it was a path forward, a commitment to proactive health, a testament to the seriousness of her initial diagnosis.